Didn't one of the guys die today?
Or
yesterday?
I think you're right. I saw something on
Yeah.
Facebook. Such an informative site about people who die.
Dude.
Love it.
God damn.
That's one thing they're good for, I guess.
Well, everyone, welcome back to Season 2 of the Boss Bus Between the Cheeks podcast, and a happy New Year to you all. Fuck 2020.
I thought you were going to play Old Lang Syne. That was the opening note, and it was like...
Just get at it. But we are here. The decor is coming next week, but we've got a giant tapestry coming. We've got Tanner here. Tanner Gross is our guest, amazing friend, and we've got Paul Brunetti, the man himself, as the guest co-host for the evening. And I'm Zach.
The lead stick, and then Zach.
Yes.
I didn't even bring my stick, so you can't call that.
Your sticks are here in spirit.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Tanner.
Well, I was born in Clarion, Iowa, June 29th, 19... Okay, well, fuck that shit. Right?
No, like, what are you about? Like,
I'm just fucking with you.
When that question comes up, what is it?
What am I
think
about?
Like, what does it make you think about when I ask you who you are?
Who I am. That's an excellent question. Oh, boy. What I think about myself... searching. That's what I come to. Searching. Wandering. Watching. Like, I observation is what comes to my mind. Just watching.
I feel that, dude.
Just
Dude,
watching life.
Clarence? Is that a small town?
Clarion.
Clarion.
Clarion, yeah.
Is that a small town?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
super small town. Never been there before, except when I was born there.
Yeah.
Dude. I've never heard of that place before. But I also feel that in regard to, like, searching and, like, just watching. I mean, the search for a lot of things. Like, there's knowledge, experiences, just more wisdom itself.
Searching for the right thing. So I'm searching for what to search for. Is
Yeah,
what I would say.
well, I always tell people, like, I'm figuring it out. Like, what are you figuring out? I was like, that's what I'm figuring out.
Exactly.
You gotta figure out. You gotta know what you don't know first before you can learn it.
No, 100%. Like you walk many paths at the same time. I feel, and only a few of them are going to lead to a particular point that you're trying to get to, and you're constantly trying to figure out. Like, you have like 4 feet, and you're like, oh, am I putting this foot in the right direction? Am I putting this foot in the right direction? And then eventually, whatever comes more comfortable as we experience every single day becomes the direction that we go. It seems like we're all just trying to hope we get to where we're trying to go.
And the more you think about it, though, the harder it is to, like, learn or figure it out. Like,
it's
you
almost,
gotta find the state of flow in it where you're just kind of like in there, but you're not like thinking about it. Like, sometimes I can do something super easy, like on the banjo or making a stick, but then when I'm thinking about it, that's when you slip up.
You slip, exactly, because you get out of the flow. I look at it as like, the little squiggly thing that pops in front of your eye and whatnot. Like, if you try and focus on it, like it's going to move away, but like, it always comes back when you're out of focus, and it's something like that.
Or like the blind spot, yeah. Same thing.
To that effect. Speaking of blind spots, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a blind spot.
I was chemically burned in a car accident. My car's gone.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, that's light.
Sonia.
I'm
gonna.
Sure, yeah. We'll do not the water. We'll do this. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna cheers. Cheers to that, dude.
Well, how was your guys' New Year's? I guess we'll get it on footage now.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I went down to Lincoln, went down with Stormy, and then brought back my now girlfriend and the girl he was talking to at the time. And then, yeah, we had a good time. Good old fun time.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody had a good time. It was crazy though, because at my girlfriend's house, we were just casually chilling, and then just like we just hear massive gunshots, and I'm like, cool. This is the first time I've heard that up close besides Boy Scouts, right?
Lincoln. Well, what about yourself, man?
I met up with some friends I haven't seen in forever, and hung out, got a little drunk, and talked about philosophy and music. So
That's an excellent topic to talk about.
Yeah.
It's funny how that coexists so well.
It does.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting because, like,
music is born from philosophy.
Is it?
I feel like it's born from. Well, I guess there is some music out there.
Well, what are you trying to say when you like? What is that?
Born from philosophy. I mean, like a good portion of I tie philosophy in with emotion extremely well because like you're being philosophical, you're exploring psychology, you're exploring thought, emotion, all that jazz. So Jazz is pun. Yeah, I feel like the emotion from the that creates the music itself. Not, I mean, a lot of music these days are just money inspired and
formulaic and
formulated,
regurgitated, predigested.
Regurgitated.
Like, listen to Adorno is a really good philosopher. He was raised in Germany during World War II. He was a super strong communist philosopher, wrote a lot about music and how music nowadays is kind of being is formulaic. It's pre-digested. It's made for consuming rather than like as an art.
Trends.
Yeah, like consuming, like it's made to be bought rather than to be appreciated. And he would always touch it back to like Bach or like bigger stuff.
Goes back to roots of what I love Johann Sebastian Bach. I love that shit.
A G.
He's a fucking G, dude. He fucking became a gypsy towards the end of his life.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
How? I didn't know that.
I actually did like a not a documentation, a little like project.
School project.
School project. That's the fucking word. God, it's been a while. But yeah, for Johann Sebastian Bach, and he was one of the few pianists who could like play on like these 3 scale pages. It's almost like he had 3 fingers that he could play with. But towards the end of his life, he fell in love with like some gypsy chick and followed off with them and played violin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking dope, dude. Fucking dope. I think it was in France. He's French, right?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Don't quote me.
Yeah, don't quote him on it.
I watched a movie too.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's sick. That's cool to know. Bach. Yeah, he's even cooler now than he was previously.
It's fun to say like when you're about to leave, like I'll be Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yep, I'll be Bach.
Just lay
that's
on
good.
the lame.
That's a good pun. I mean, all puns intended. Always.
Yeah, maximum puns intended.
Anytime there's a pun, I can get.
Let's go full.
What's your best pun? What's your best like jokey?
Oh yeah, my best joke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've used this a whole bunch, but no one ever remembers it. It seems great. All right. So why did the blind lady fall into the well?
I don't know why.
Because she couldn't see that well.
Nice.
I like that. That was good. That brought me joy.
That's all I tried to do. That's all I tried to do.
What's yours?
Well, it's very situational. I mean, not for me because I eat eggs Benedict all the time. But when someone brings you an eggs Benedict, you go, "Why is this not served on a hubcap?" You go, why? He's like, "Well, didn't you know eggs Benedict's supposed to be served on a hubcap?" And I'm like, "Well, why?" He's like, "Well, because there's no place like Chrome for the hollandaise."
Oh my god! You have to know that too. To get
Oh
that
my
joke.
goodness, dude!
Amazing.
Oh
It breaks
my.
people's hearts.
Oh my! I can't top that one, dude.
I wish this would just eventually work, but it's okay.
Yeah, right. They're so sad. I can't top that. All I got is, I remember good buddy D Warner. He went to Millard North, and he was a really good artist, and he's done like some of our album arts or our single arts. But I just wrote on a piece of paper. I just drew a picture of an egg, and put excellent. And it was like an egg with a monocle, and I passed it across to him, and that's just stuck with me because he's brought it up so often because he's just like, why?
It changed his life.
Why?
It occupied a part of his mind for the rest.
You
of
went
his
straight
life.
Inception on.
Yeah,
You
I'll take
planted
it.
like something in the corner of his mind that just like shattered his whole reality.
Yep, the inkling, dude. It was planted.
So Tanner, we were talking about music for a bit. What are like your go-to genres or like artists or things that you like to listen to or dance to or stuff like
Dance. Yeah. I'll dance to jazz and funk all the live long day. Some house music I'll dance to, but like what I go to jazz and funk.
What kind
chill
of jazz?
step. Fucking. I don't even have names.
Any
for
big
it.
artists or
Not necessarily off the top of my head. Like if I had to call like it electric jazz, so like Pretty Lights is what I'll go for.
Okay.
Good Fortune. I love Pretty Lights and.
some more like new wave kind of stuff?
There you go. More of that. There's so many fucking genres.
Jazz especially. You
Yeah, dude.
get the same guy playing two different guys playing the same piece, and it's 2 different genres.
No, you're 100% correct. Yeah.
That's so true.
But that same like flow, you know what I mean? Like that, anything with a saxophone in it, with electricity going on in the background, like the floozies are fantastic.
Dude, I
man.
love them so much.
Oh fuck! I went to a concert one time. It was oh my god! Like, and the whole time I was watching, I was just like, "What the fuck? I've never fucking heard these guys before, but this is exactly what I wanted to fucking hear."
Right?
But I don't listen to them much anymore. But that kind of genre is.
I get it.
I go to.
Like fusion,
I like it.
fusion, funky, kind of like electric shit.
And if you watch my Snapchat, like I'm surprised we don't have each other on Snapchat.
I think I do.
You do?
I think I do.
Oh,
Snap.
well, I always fucking like record myself singing like lip singing
Like in your car.
in my
Or
car,
just
exactly,
anywhere.
or just
Cool. Yep, I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
anywhere I'm alone.
Yeah.
Like for Frank Sinatra. Sorry, are those corduroy?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
That's
god,
the best word in the world.
dude!
corduroy.
Oh my god, look at
That's
that color
nice
too.
pants. Yeah, that's quality pants.
You guys can't see.
That's look at
Yeah.
that. You can almost write your name in that corduroy.
Yeah,
That's
you
good
can.
shit.
Corduroy is great.
It is.
It's
It's
just a good
insulated.
word. It could be a good name. It is
I
a good
agree.
name for like a bear.
That's a
when I hear
corduroy.
corduroy, what color do you think of?
I think of brown.
You think of
I think
brown?
of, like,
I think of
beige.
like a brown or like a burnt orange or something.
I go with burgundy. That's usually what I go with.
Good old burgundy. That's a good word too.
I was just about to say
Burgundy.
burgundy's
Oh my
a
God.
good word.
I got some burgundy
corduroy.
corduroys.
That's a fucking porn
I
star
actually-
right there.
That's a porn star
And
word
burgundy
right there.
corduroy. He always wears red corduroy.
Yeah.
You know he fucks.
He ruins people.
Oh my god,
Oh man,
that's powerful.
I freaking knew we were gonna be like laughing a lot tonight, and I have this split lip, and it's fucking annoying. But yeah, dude, let's just keep on smiling.
The more you
It's
rip
great.
it,
Every time you laugh,
time
it's just like,
I
you
can
just gotta
feel
get
it.
through it. Once you rip it enough, it can't rip anymore.
Did
that's
you
a
hear that?
fact.
Did you hear that?
I did. Yeah, somebody just scraped them like their tires on something. Right, the,
Probably
the
so.
curve is intense.
Probably
Good luck
so.
to them.
Yeah.
So what do you do then, like for work and stuff? Like,
Oh, I work with Qubit.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't be more grateful to him and David Maxwell as well. Like shout out to
You guys all
Qubit.
work together?
Yeah,
That's sick.
not at the same place. Like some days we work together. Very rarely nowadays. I miss you guys so much. I'm not sure if you guys can even see this. I'm not sure even how this
I hope
works.
they do.
It's just a screen on
You're
the
just
top.
talking-
I'm sure they'll
talking
see it because they
ether.
love us. But yeah, we just fix phones. That's all we do is fix phones,
Okay.
repair
nice.
iPads. Yeah, like I picked up a whole bunch in like 4 months.
That's a fun job because then like you can listen to like a podcast or a book
I
on
can
tape.
do whatever
or
the fuck
something.
I want,
Yeah.
dude.
You don't
Books
have
on
to
tape
deal
are the
with
best.
customers.
Well,
Like face to face
You
as
do.
much.
Yeah, I
as
definitely
much.
do to like take in like as much. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But there's like a retail side to it, so you do like try and push like phone cases and whatnot. But like the main thing is like doing repairs. They have these super small little like screws and whatnot that if you breathed in, it would like go right down. They're super tiny. They're super tiny. And then I'll get my hair, like my fucking stupid ass hair right now, will get like stuck in an iPad like cover, and I'll close it and be like, and drop the iPad or something like that.
Oh,
Hasn't happened, but it was close. I caught it with my ninja fingers. But
nice. That is close, dude. That I worked at a place similar to that on like 72nd and Dodge, one we have here. It was Continental Cellular.
I heard that.
It was interesting. I only did like the repairs some of the time when there was like too many phones and things
So like
to fix.
iPhones a lot.
Yeah,
A lot of iPhones,
basically
yeah.
iPhones.
iPhones
But
are.
I was
they're
super
good
slow
little-
at it.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a good like learning thing to see the insides of something and also how cheap
Yes.
the materials actually are.
Yeah.
How inexpensive.
No, I'm just kidding. No, dude, they're super fucking cheap. It's terrible.
Except for Samsung's.
Exactly.
They are the only ones
I
that make
know,
their
dude.
screens.
Yeah,
I
old
know.
Samsung.
I know. I have a cracked screen, and like even at work, even at work, it's gonna be like $300 for me to fix the screen. So you know what? We'll just wait for the contract. So
Hey,
why not?
there you go, dude. Oh, that's so nice though. To work with people like that, I've been wanting to get Qubit on the podcast as well.
Oh, dude, like
He's-
if you bring him, bring me to be the co-host.
Yeah, he'll just ramble for an hour.
bring me to be
Yeah.
the co-host. I would love to do that
I
because
love
I love that guy.
Right? I
He's
saw
such a
him
good
at
person.
that last rave at the warehouse. I remember just talking to him on the couch for
Oh.
so long. It was so
what up at the top of the
yeah,
top
at
of
the VIP with the
yeah.
heaters, dude. I didn't know that up there was heated, and I was freezing.
Yeah, dude, it's so nice walking up there. Like I was like trying to find out where the heat's coming from. Like, motherfucker, it burned me a little bit the first time we were there at the Halloween party.
Mhm.
That was a good fucking time. That was a good night.
Dude, that was insane.
Oh my god, it was a resilient night. There was many energies going
Mhm.
on that night, and I was able to like keep my cool, which isn't usually like the case. You know, like sometimes there's the energy overload that goes on, especially after not being with a bunch of
Yeah.
people after so long. You're just like, oh fuck, I forgot
Yeah.
what this was like.
Right, it was intense.
Yeah, it was intense.
And it was I'm glad everybody like the masks were. Everybody had to wear a mask.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
no anybody that wasn't, they were like.
Yeah, Turtle was
Bad.
up there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was up there for a little bit, like just like doing little forehead things. Turtle had the little gun with him, which was really cool that we had that.
Right.
Yeah, like that made me feel so safe. And if anybody came and knocking, like, you guys doing something wrong, like, come closer. Let me check your forehead. Oh, you guys are fine.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
it was a good safety precaution, and like, the scene gives a fuck about it.
Mhm.
You know, like the right people give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
You know, There are some folks out there not trying to talk trash or like call out any names because no names come to mind, but I've definitely seen
those nameless
I've seen it. I've seen it. You've seen it. Like they do it for the wrong reasons, and they're just literally just trying to get either like a
money
or a fame. Or
yeah, I mean it's also just like fear. Like a lot of like my cousins or aunts and stuff who are anti-maskers or don't give a shit. It's more just fear of lack of control.
Exactly. No,
it comes from an emotional response.
100% agree with that. Lack of control.
Because they don't say it's fear; they say they're angry. But it's like that anger is a secondary emotion.
Exactly.
You know?
Yoda would say, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, and that's the dark side. Which they got cookies.
They do. They do. That's the toughest part.
That's the toughest part.
It's hard to resist it.
The cookies.
You can make your own cookies.
There you fucking go, dude. I love
cookies.
that.
You can make your own.
That's a good way
turn that
to put
bitch
it.
around.
Yep, that's good.
But I mean, the good side's. I mean, the light side's too strict and straight and narrow.
wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah, they're too pull up their butt. You gotta be that gray Jedi. That's where it's at.
Unfortunately, that's not even canon. Like, and it wasn't even old canon.
Well, it is now because didn't she have the silver lightsabers in the Mandalorian?
That doesn't necessarily mean she's a gray Jedi.
I mean, she kind of is great.
Well, she's definitely
the way she's talking, the way she was fighting, the things, her ideologies was full gray.
Until they give it like a specific like name. A gray Jedi is basically it isn't even an order. It's basically just like what you become. It's more like a renegade Jedi.
Yeah, it's like what is it like? So there's a samurai, but when your master dies, what are you, Ronin?
I think that's the word you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a movie,
it's
Seven Ronin or something.
I'm definitely, I'll take one of those too. Those are delicious.
Yeah, Ronin.
I love how seltzer has affected the world. Like, everybody has seltzers nowadays.
Right? And the bubblies. Dude, when we were kids, this was the best thing. Kids, like, we were doing a UV blue, dude, like, constantly chugging.
No, Four Locos.
Bartons.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
I miss OG Four Locos.
No, I don't.
Oh, dude, I never had one when I was when they took caffeine out.
That's when you puke the most. That's when you puke the
first
goddamn most.
Yeah, the first time I drank a Four Loko, I was at a party with my brother, and I couldn't find my brother, and so I left the party and ran for like a mile down the street.
That's the caffeine
I was like
in there.
15, 16.
Caffeine
I was just
alcohol is a
running
terrible
down the
mix.
street looking for my brother, and my friends drove up. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, I can't find my brother.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
That's so... oh my god, that's like getting Quaaludes now. Like it's like a rare treasure.
I wonder if like those are even possible to be gotten. Like, I've seen some things on the dark web back when I used to see things.
No, Quaaludes are like hard to find.
Right? They gotta be like expired almost.
I'm so
by
curious
now.
what the high's like.
I mean,
what's
they
the high like?
still make them into some extent. Some stuff will use them to some medical degree. But
True.
They are very, very.
Isn't some kind of a barbiturate?
Yeah, it's a tranquilizer.
Okay,
Both my parents have done it, and I'm jealous.
I watched this video online of this dude talking about Quaaludes. I'll send you both the video because it's this old fat dude talking about Quaaludes, screaming at the top of his lungs, "Oh my God, these were the motherfucking best fucking things. You'd have sex, do a line of coke, and then squirt cum out your nose." I'm like, what the? And he was just screaming, laughing. Like, he went back to the time when he was doing them, and you could see him reliving it, and that's what made it so fucking just enjoyable. Like, what? I want to do a bunch of them now.
I remember asking my mom.
I'll do a bunch.
Yeah.
And apparently, I saw on Wolf of Wall Street you could take it with alcohol. So.
Yep. I mean,
probably should
with some consequences.
Consequences.
I mean, falling out of your fucking
How long have we been going to festivals?
Yeah. True. Yeah, dude. Oh, 6 years, 7 years for me.
Is it 2014? How long?
6 years.
6 years?
That was like Bloodfest was my real like
7 years. Well, the season hasn't started yet. Hopefully it starts.
Senior summer.
Hopefully it starts.
Which one was that? Was that Strangeland or River Jam?
It was probably the first one.
Strangeland.
Yeah. Probably. I didn't go to that, but I went to Love Fest afterwards, and thankfully because we all got to see fucking Nako.
Dude, and he stopped the rain.
And he stopped the fucking rain.
I'm not the biggest. I've never been a Nako guy.
He kind of went a little culty, I feel.
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean,
it's
just I don't know. He's very like. There's two types of spiritual people to me. Like, there's a spiritual who like care about it, and the spiritual is like as an image. And I've always saw him more as like an image kind of guy.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
And I completely don't like those kind of people that use it as like
like light to draw them all in.
Mm-hmm. Like people who call themselves shamans or people who like talk about that stuff.
I fell victim to that.
It
was a festival after I went to my first festival. I had the total syndrome, like because I had just acquired DMT, So, and I had experimented with it a whole bunch before I went to the festival that year.
So you thought you knew what's up? You knew what was going on?
I knew what was up,
like,
but I didn't.
The boy.
I knew what was up, but I didn't know like what was up.
I'm the man about town.
What was up? Yeah. But like no one else. But like it was like 2015 to 2016. Like not a lot of people had DMT back then. Like
no, it was rare.
I mean,
it was rare as shit.
I knew a few people. My brother.
I knew a few people, but at the same time, like now it's definitely more mainstream. You know, I know a whole bunch of people who know of it now. It's
more than it was. At least.
I would say it's more our group, our generation. Like because like Anthony was like probably the generation before us. He was already in that stuff. Like kind of the same place where we're at kind of now. Like.
Once you find your niche and whatnot,
yeah,
but with like Facebook and whatnot, and it being allowed to be put onto like the mainstream consciousness network for you to absorb into your mind and draw whatever, and then you see like Facebook post that says, DMT venom, found in what do they say in toad venom, and I'm like. They were talking about like fangs inside the toad on the article, and I was like, "What?"
I would love to see a toad with fangs,
dude.
That's terrifying.
I couldn't believe it.
Hardcore.
Saving that for D&D,
dude. Oh my god!
Oh, dude, he bites you and you trip.
Yeah, and then I could have a whole like thing for like.
Dude, Riley would be addicted to those immediately.
I'm gonna take some of these with me.
Like,
people actually do go toading. Like they actually do go and find like the Sonoran
5-MeO DMT.
The Sonoran Desert. I've done that too, which is. I mean,
isn't 5-MeO the toad DMT?
Yeah, most definitely.
Cool.
That's the god or the spirit.
The spirit molecule is N-dimethyltryptamine, which is like the stuff inside the brain. But like something that's a little bit more potent is 5-methoxy-DMT, which is in the DMT toad, Sonoran Desert. But I mean that stuff I did it like probably like 9 or 10 times, and like 9 or 10 times I threw the fuck up. Like I had an immediate purge right after doing it.
Yeah,
but it was intense. Like imagine like throwing up, but like you're throwing up, and the pile of throw up becomes the actual portal that you're flying through in a 1,000 miles an hour.
I've been there.
You're making a portal.
Yep, just like
gone.
Nothing like vomiting, man.
Oh yeah, out with a bad.
Dude,
purge.
Like,
the purge.
I agree wholeheartedly.
100%.
As a wrestler, I have had experience with eating disorders, and like throwing up has always been like. Because, like, this minute, like, the next, like, 10, 15 seconds after you throw up is, like, one of the best opioids you can get. Like, you get this rush, you go,
yeah, you're like, finally,
sit there on the ground and just be like, okay.
Yep, your brain is filled with things saying, like, okay, feel better. Does it fall down?
We tried.
That was the force doing that. It wasn't meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the fan?
Oh, yes, I also should.
That's a force.
That's a force. It is a force.
Air pressure is a force.
That shit.
It's a higher power of some sort.
Oh, like I was watching this show called His Dark Materials, and they were talking about how like space in between space. It's have you ever heard of His Dark Materials?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of it. I've never.
It's like a somewhat theological, scientific show. Like they meld theology with science. It's from the same universe as the Golden Compass. You ever read that shit?
I
read the first book.
The Vatican really doesn't like them at all.
Well, they don't like anything that talks about God.
God not being God. But like they're talking about dark matter and like them being angels, but at the same time they gave a visual representation of like the matter in between spaces as being like a liquid. So imagine you're constantly inside the ocean, you can just see through the water, and like just imagine like the flow of everything around you, and it's interesting to imagine that sometimes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's nice, dude. There's so many things.
Got it.
Even.
Got
you
it.
did it. Yep. It was just took maximum effort.
Yeah, just
had to blow harder.
Had to blow harder. You always just gotta blow harder. Sometimes that's just life.
It is
that's
life.
Just life.
If you think you're not blowing hard enough, just blow a little harder. See
if you're struggling, just blow
harder,
and you'll figure it out.
We could definitely use that as a T-shirt. Yeah. Hold up a thumb sign.
Blow a little harder.
Yep. I want you to blow a little harder. Amen, dude.
It's life.
Dude, you were telling me too. There's so many movies and shit that I've missed out on. But you were talking about Blue Mountain State, and have you seen Blue Mountain State?
I couldn't get into it.
You couldn't get into it? Oh, it's fucking funny.
I like the oil change thing. That's the funny part of the show. And I still use that to my friends. They're freaking about it. They're like, you do oil change. I've convinced people that it works, and they're like, I've got one person about to do it, and then I tell them, no, that's a joke. Don't actually.
Well, I mean, an enema's not bad for you.
Drain the pee and then put someone else's.
Oh wait, that's what it is. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, and they put it up their urethra and they squirt it. Oh man, I remember that episode. Fuck. So you know what I'm talking about. It's this super jockey show.
Yeah, it's like bro-y fun jokes.
It's bro-y fun jokes. Word.
That's a good way to put it. It's like, is it like kind of bro-y like Workaholics bro-y, or bro-y like more jockey bro-y?
It's like Workaholics for jocks.
Yeah.
Like Workaholics is more for like the like the alt kind of culture with like drugs and like hippies
and then there's a few there's like a few hippies speckled in there, but they're like confused.
Yeah, it's more like the party kind of group rather than like the jockey kind of group.
Tons of hot chicks, tons of like there was one episode that made me like really respect the show, is that they were talking about the Vision Quest, and they brought out like DMT, and then he's talking about like this he pulls out this thing, he's like ayahuasca. And I'm like, nuh-uh, you guys referenced ayahuasca on this fucking show?
Blue Mountain
And then one dude comes and grabs it and drinks the whole thing.
And then just vomits. And
he freaks the fuck out. The whole episode is him like, it's ridiculous. He has sex with a bunch of chicks. He has to use a pocket pussy to open up a door. And that's just the brim of it.
Oh my god.
That reminds me, the new season of Big Mouth has an ayahuasca episode.
See, I've been being told about Big Mouth from my friend
fun.
Jeremy Nelson for like the longest time.
If you like metaphors and about puberty, that's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Innuendos.
Yeah, innuendo.
Is that from Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
I don't remember. I just say it every time anyone says
I say that too. In your endo, man.
It's
I
the
love
best.
It. Perfect.
That's up there with Hollandaise, but
jam it.
Perfect, dude. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
Eggs.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's a show I haven't seen. I haven't seen a lot though. I need to watch more things. There's so many things to watch all the time.
Cobra Kai was good. This last season I wasn't as big on. It was fun, but it was like
so the first season was here. The last season was like here.
Yeah, but the second season I think was the best.
I loved it. Cobra Kai, you have a Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Flicks of Net?
Yeah, I do.
Dude,
I do.
check out Cobra Kai. It's wholesome as hell. Did you ever like the Karate Kid movies?
Yeah, I loved Karate Kid. I know that's like the...
Dude, oh my god, you have a nostalgic cream in your pants full heart moment. You know, it's almost like, you know, an orgasm plus what the Grinch experienced at the end of the movie.
I just...
you know, it's hard to like...
I like shows that like...
heartgasm.
That play
use it
with...
as an example more.
I like things that play with like the idea of like a bad guy or not. Like they kind of play from Johnny's perspective, where it's like he's not like his perspective of like what happened.
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah, but it's like, but it's also like fleshing out the bad guy. Like Lord of the Rings, there is a book called.
Which one?
No,
you brought up
not
Lord of the Rings.
I'm talking about.
Careful.
There is a quote unquote
forever.
fan book. It was written basically. The book told from Mordor's point of view.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The Ring and Mount something.
No, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but it was basically talking about like industrialization and these wizards were kind of hoarding it over the people.
Exactly.
And Mordor was trying to like push the group into it, and it was like
exactly.
justifying those reasons. And I love
justifying
those
their expansion into industrialization and like kind of making everyone else look like they're just a bunch of you know, light-sided rebel monkeys out in the distance, like fighting again. It was an interesting speculation, but I'm sure Tolkien like kind of rolled over in his grave for a second.
Well, just things for me, I find the whole like good versus evil and kind of like dichotomy of that is so kind of not realistic, because nothing is black and white. Nothing is good versus bad. Everyone has their justification. Most people don't want to be the bad guy. They don't think they're doing the wrong thing.
True.
So, have you read the Silmarillion at all?
I read it way back in the day. So
good luck trying to remember that shit.
Yeah. It's like saying, I read the freaking...
No, it's like trying to say I read Dante's Inferno.
I read the bibliography.
Which I'm sure.
No, I read Dante's.
I read Dante's Inferno.
I think Dante's is more understandable. It's just the references are to things we don't know.
Exactly.
I think that someone could redo Dante's Inferno, but use like modern culture, like characters or people from our generation. Like in place, because he was just talking about it was basically a fanfic about him saying, I went to hell and I met and all the cool philosophers that I liked thought I was sweet.
That's my theory behind like almost every kind of like religious experience. Like you guys probably like, was there a burning plant around you?
Right.
What was in that tea? I'm sure you had tea. You guys
right, or like whatever could be in the water, or could be in the food, or like any mold, or George Takei. Maybe he just came down and was like, "Ooh."
Yep, it comes out from the Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, dude,
Starship Enterprise.
It's not gonna die. It's staying alive. It's staying alive.
I want him to live forever.
I know.
Didn't
Him
he already die?
No, he didn't say that. He didn't die yet. Okay.
I'm the bad guy.
And William Shatner. I thoroughly enjoy his existence, every minute of it. He came out with a Christmas CD last year, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with like a whole bunch of famous people like making it. I haven't listened to it yet, but I saw the first video and it looked epic. Just this old motherfucker with a bunch of like new age rappers, just like or Merry Christmas and all that jazz, and it just looks great.
That's amazing. The Shatner.
The Shatner.
Nothing like getting shat on.
Dude, yeah. My dad also loves the Shat.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's
See, I was more of a next gen guy.
I guess my dad was more of a Picard
Dude,
guy. Actually, my dad's more of a Picard.
I will die on that fucking.
I couldn't.
battlefield.
So like I watched so much of the original that like it ruined any other kind of Star Trek for me.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you get used to the camp, but like.
Exactly.
But just the thing about.
Because I know there's more to experience.
Yeah. Well, it's just the thing about like sci-fi in general. It's made to explore the personal like the human experience. That's what it's made for. Is to put us into these.
Space,
use this technology. Use this
Ah.
technology. Use these. It's kind of metaphorical, where it's like every generation of Star Trek, the crew is basically the mind kind of broken up into parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's using them to like
as an
explore
organism to explore space.
Yeah. And that's why Star Wars.
Wow.
Is
I like it.
That's why Star Wars is a fantasy and not a science.
Wow, I had never looked at it that way, but a whole new respect for Star Trek in general now, just because of that that comparison.
That's such a good perspective.
That's a good perspective. God damn.
I didn't make that up. It's just what it is.
It's just what's there. Open your eyes wide.
Like, hey, there's a stick. You found a stick. That's amazing. Like,
you want a stick? I do want the stick.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, Star Wars is definitely fantasy.
Star Wars is a hero's journey, coming of age.
Birthed from
has
Frank Herbert's
wizards
Dune.
in it. It's just in space. It's fantasy in space, not a sci-fi.
We wouldn't have as good of a Star Wars if we didn't have as good of a Dune. You ever heard of Dune before?
Dude, I know they made a Dune movie, didn't they?
Back in the 80s.
They've made a movie and it was in a
small series with James McAvoy. Yeah.
I never watched.
McAvoy.
I've never watched. I've only read. I don't want to ruin it with those.
Read the book.
I read the books.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic.
I don't care to watch the old movie because I've heard they don't.
No, fuck them. Fuck them. Okay, it's classic. Like that's one of the most nostalgic movies for me is watching the old Dune.
Yeah.
Because it's super far out there, and it was the '80s cinema trying to like get a psychedelic space substance, galactic like feud onto a screen back then. It didn't work very well.
That sounds interesting, dude.
George Lucas did it, but I mean,
it
wasn't quite as. It's not as expansive, or it wasn't expansive back then. Like we've made it expansive now. Like we've put the lore into it. Everything that Disney comes out with these days is from the past 40, 50 years of Star Wars nerds writing books and inventing stuff and submitting them to George Lucas or Lucasfilm.
Yeah, and rather than creating a new sci-fi genre, let's just tack it onto the old one.
But instead of doing that, they'll just say, "Well, all this stuff's cool." Forget about it for a second, and then we'll just take bits and pieces and say we made it up. Well, look at that, we're putting that there. Boba Fett survived in the original Legendarium, so.
Dude, I also haven't seen The Mandalorian. Any of it. I've seen the first 5 episodes of the first season.
Yeah.
I know I'm missing out, though.
It's been decent. I like how it doesn't take itself too seriously. It holds itself as a Western in space. And I love
as a Western in space.
That's a good
way. And it's
way
campy in some points, it's dumb in some points, and it feeds into like the
Star
fan
Wars
service of like just giving you you remember this guy now he's here.
It's the good nostalgia and it's a good point of reference for them to draw in those nostalgic feelings because I feel like they're trying to cut ties with them, slowly. So I feel like now that Luke, you haven't seen that on the show,
and probably our viewers have.
Well, I was out. A friend of mine finished like the Mandalorian a few weeks ago, and I was like, "How are you just finishing this stuff?" Inside my head, I'm like.
Yeah, I didn't start the 3rd season until the last episode came out. Or 2nd, whatever.
Oh, man, I binged it.
I binged it all in one day because I waited till it came out. So you like a lot of, like, fantasy and sci-fi and, like, literature and stories and stuff. Do you ever, like, think about writing your own or have your own stories?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, any ideas that are, like, interesting ones you, like, had an idea
I've
of?
never been asked this before, and I've never thought of a reason to talk about it. A few years back, I was inspired by like kind of writing a book, and like I ended up doing that. But before I was inspired by it, like I had somewhat of a rough draft myself. And then a movie came out which like made me feel like my idea was kind of lame, or like because it was that thing.
What was the idea?
It was Annihilation, like the idea of like a celestial seed coming to the planet and like changing the topography of it, the geology of it, and the fight against it. But it was from more of like a part scientific, part celestial, spiritual magic area. I didn't want to go too scientific with it.
Yeah, so you balance the sci-fi with the space.
But then also add in consciousness itself. I didn't want to take out the essence of spice. If you know what spice is, from Dune, spice is spice expands consciousness.
Yeah, it's the psychedelic drug that
it's like DMT
makes us so we don't need computers.
Space spice.
It enhances your space DMT.
Space DMT, and it makes it so we don't need computers.
That's exactly
what it is.
That's why I wanted to keep it
robots.
at. But I never got too far. Never got too far. But it was a good idea. I mean, you have to create.
Have you been writing anything lately or anything?
Not in the past. I wrote some about 3 months back. Back a little bit after Halloween, I think 3 months back. I wrote some after Halloween because I got an idea and it helped me create a character.
It's awesome.
But yeah, no one's ever asked about that. I haven't told anyone.
We might crave it if it's an addiction to social interaction.
Happiness.
And we
too.
see that in quarantine right now. People are addicted to sociality.
No, it's crazy because our sociality has created a influx of dopamine in our dopamine craving. So our dopamine receptors are all kinds of fucked up right now because we're constantly getting a stimulus. Yeah. As soon as we run out of the TV show to watch,
we weren't evolved to this level of instant gratification.
But now we're all dealing with dopamine fluctuation issues, and that's pretty much the root cause of why there's so much depression, why there's so much inability to cope with what's going on. There's so much inability to cope with anything, why there's anxiety, why people have prescriptions for benzodiazepines, things like that.
Plus the winter.
That itself being cooped up.
Everything else.
It's just
And the thought of the new year, it doesn't really make things brighter. We were talking earlier about how there was a group of people who were
once waiting. 2020, December 31st, 2020, the second it hits midnight, Corona's just...
Yeah, things are different.
Peace out.
Things have changed. This is more than just a
cure work, guys.
Right, artificial.
That we decided was the next year.
Mm-hmm. Wake up and just nothing. No virus, everybody's fine. Yeah. World changed.
I feel good. Cheers. Cheers to the new year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's great to spend it with you guys. Thank you so much.
Acquaintance be forgot and all that jazz.
Yep.
All anxiety.
Amen.
All that jazz.
All that jazz.
And all that jazz.
Forget about all the jazz. That's what happens. 2021, the jazz just disappeared.
Oh, there was a funny post I saw. It was 2021, but WON.
Yeah. 2020 and then
it won.
Oh no.
2020 and 3.
Yeah, dude, we got 10 seasons. 10 more seasons of this, dude.
9.
Nine more. We got 10 full seasons of 2020 that we're gonna deal with.
The dream.
Hopefully.
The dream.
Hopefully we make it that far.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on. Oh, this is wood. I'm gonna knock on it.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I don't want to knock on non-wood.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, no, that's worse than not knocking at all. That curses you.
That's life. Non-bread.
I love that shit,
dude. I haven't had non-bread in a long time.
Dip down some hummus.
Dude, I need to get more into hummus. The generic hummus I do like, but certain kinds. I had this spicy feta hummus,
and the garlic
roasted.
The garlic's the best.
Yeah,
because I buy 2 tubs of that every time I go grocery shopping. And
really?
I'll
just crackers or non-bread?
Oh, crackers, sandwiches.
Chips.
You can spread it on sandwiches.
Yeah.
It's like tasty butter.
Ooh.
But it's not
Carrots,
buttery.
Yeah,
it's
any vegetable you dip in that shit.
Oh, dude, anything you dip in it, man. I put a fucking. I saw this commercial where this guy's like, "Give me a piece of tree bark, I'll eat it with hummus." I'm like, I feel that.
Yeah, that's honestly.
One day,
if a tree's looking at me right and the bark is looking tasty,
what's up, dude?
Yep, let me get some of that.
You look chewable.
Yep. Dude, I will get into hummus and the Mandalorian after this. I definitely need to do both.
And Name of the Wind, both of you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I didn't know it was free.
Keep holding on to you.
Please do, dude.
I love how he's getting both of us with that.
Yeah, I was telling him when we were in D&D, I was like, you gotta listen to this fucking record.
Yeah. Yeah, especially
in
now
the book.
that I know
the
it's
audio
free.
version is amazing.
Dude, there's so many haters on audiobooks. It's tough.
Well, it's elitism to a point where it's like you don't get to experience it in your mind because there's someone voicing it.
Actually, there's sound effects, so.
No, I mean not all of them. Either.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's like some people function better listening than reading. It's digesting the stuff.
It's amazing that you can listen to a book while doing work nowadays, though.
That's great,
and that's good mental exercise at the same time. Your attention's here, but also you have your attention here. I find that's good brain.
The argument being made is you don't have your full attention to it, like when you're reading.
Touche.
So that is why they say it's not the same because you don't give your full attention. But that's them talking from their experience. For me, I can give my full attention to a book. I can experience it as strongly reading it and just listening to it.
Yeah.
Yep. Same.
Most definitely.
Same, dude.
It's like to sit there and like just gather my fucking chi and listen to a goddamn book. It's great.
Yep.
I have this bougie earpiece I'll put in my ear.
Oh.
Dude, I swear to God, I don't give a fuck.
Like an 80s like stockbroker Bluetooth earpiece,
yeah,
like one
of
ear.
those. It's not like a big one though. It's definitely
you're a
hideable.
yuppie bastard.
You're wearing the glasses. yeah, dude. Yeah. But yeah, it usually is hidden by my hair, so I don't feel too bougie about it. But I'll just be sitting there with my thing in my ear, listening to a book, and my roommate will talk to me, and I'll be like, "What the fuck do you want? Like, can't you tell? Can't you tell?
You're staring into space.
I'm in a whole other world."
I'm cooking, just like
Yeah.
listening to a book. I'm on some like planet far away. You know, these eggs, maybe they're dinosaur eggs, dude. I'm gonna eat them anyway.
I'm gonna eat them anyway.
That's funny.
I feel that, dude. Audio, any podcast. That's why I love listening to podcasts, too. Like, I've probably listened to like 60 hours of D&D podcasts in the last 3 weeks.
I recently found like some Lord of the Rings podcasts. Like
What do? They talk about like
they
the
talk
lore?
about the lore and they just sit there and discuss it forever. And I got in trouble at work for listening to it too loud and too much. It's like as soon as I found it, I'm just like,
Yeah, like, I can't. This is a well. This is
it's
gold.
a well. It's a well. And like I already know a good portion of the extended lore that like not a lot of people go into. But now that they're making a new Amazon show, yeah, dude, they're making a new Amazon
And
show.
are you worried or excited about it? 'Cause I'm
I
worried.
am not giving any expectations till I see more.
I'm worried.
They're going into the second age, which is before. You remember in Lord of the Rings when he cut off the hand or cut the ring off the finger?
Yeah.
That started the third age.
Yeah.
Started the third age. But before that, Sauron made the rings, and he was fucking all kinds of shit up.
Yep.
And there were more elves and magic. Fucking great time. Great time.
Holy shit.
I'm
I
don't think you can. I don't know if that makes a good show. I don't know if I don't know if that medium transfers like that.
I saw some controversy of them putting sex into it, and I'm just like, okay, well, go back and read Tolkien's work. Did he put any sex scenes into it?
Did he?
No.
Okay.
He didn't.
He was a prude. He
he
was
put-
a good Christian boy.
No, but he
Yeah,
also,
that makes sense.
but he put a well of like emotion into his love, like a honor into his love. Like people are sacrificing their entire like existence for the love of this person. Like there's a story of Barry and Luthien. Beautiful story. One of the things that was deciphered from Tolkien's later works, and it's the legend. It's basically like a preemptive legend that told the tale of Aragorn and Arwen.
Ooh.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. And like the ring that he's wearing in the movie was his ring, like thousands of years ago. There's so much tied into Lord of the Rings lore.
Have you ever heard about the Tolkien conspiracy, where like it's actual history, where like he was a big
I wish
he was a big archivist back in the day.
He
like,
also he primarily focused in like in world
language
languages,
and
but, like,
archiving things, and there's some weight. I'm not going to say it's true or anything because it's not, but there's a conspiracy out there about Tolkienism where it was the story, like Lord of the Rings world.
Maybe
is
this
our
shit
world.
fucking happened.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
what
this shit
they're
fucking
saying.
happened.
Dude, I'd hope
There's some
Okay,
like,
so if that is
supporting
true,
evidence.
if there
It's
is,
fun to
if
think
that is
about.
true, like the final legend of Tolkien about the end of the world was, there's a guy called Melkor. You guys know who Melkor is?
Mm-mm.
He's the guy who made Sauron. He's Sauron's master. He's like infinite.
He's the big bad.
He's
Oh
the
my God,
biggest
that is-
bad.
yeah, that's
He
huge.
he was made from the guy called Eru Iluvatar, which is the god creator, which is God. No one talks about him because like no one knows about him now because it's been so many thousands of years since the people who worshipped him were around. Everyone
True.
like he just fell into distance. But like so like this guy is just a pure incarnate of darkness, and there's a legend that he's eventually going to break out of this prison and destroy the world. It'll be a final battle. That's the last thing.
It's the
that
same
he
thing
wrote
as like
about.
Norse mythology.
Exactly. Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good old rag.
Oh,
Good old rag.
Ragtag himself.
Good old rag. You on the rag? What?
So are there any mythologies or spiritual things you're like listening? Like you might not believe it, like you
Alan
like-
Watts is like a huge spiritual leader for me
I
in
love
every
him.
way. I feel like it's almost too mainstream now, but I don't give a fuck. his words, almost everything he says, I eat up wholeheartedly because like it's hard to fight that kind of logic.
Yeah.
Like what? Give me an example.
When he talks about death and whatnot, there's a whole group of people who experience like, what if it's just a lack of consciousness, if it's just blackness and whatnot, and he says something very beautiful. Well, like if it's a lack of consciousness, you won't experience it. So what are you so afraid of? And he started laughing, his little subtle laugh. Yep. I love it. It gives you such a nice little hopeful meaning to it. Or like I enjoy. There's such a big mainstream on ego nowadays. They're like trying to kill my ego and whatnot. Like it is possible to kill your ego, but it comes back to life with you. Like you're not without your ego ever. Like your ego transforms. He talks about how like everyone thinks that ego is a bad thing. Well, it's you. It's you. Ego can be deciphered down to vanity, and then you can call vanity wanting to change your hair or make yourself look good in that mirror right there. But like fucking shit. There's nothing wrong with it to an extent.
Inherently, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But to an extent, exactly.
Yeah, it
is a path. But at the same time, like you should feel good about yourself. You should brag about yourself to an extent to where like you're not making other people feel inadequate, which is extremely possible if you know how to fucking communicate to people.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really enjoy his views on ego. And that definitely has changed me because now, like, whenever I see a Facebook post on ego, like, oh, I killed my ego or tried to kill your ego.
Well, if you say you killed your ego death, you didn't kill your ego death. If you're out there to say, like, I have no ego, that's the most ego thing
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I've been saying for years, like, I experienced ego death once, but, like, it didn't die. It just, I knocked its ass down. It transformed. It definitely evolved. And I came out of this particular kind of experience a completely different person, I can 100% say. 100% say. From that point on in my life was a new Tanner Groves. Easily.
I would recommend...
And that was thanks to DMT.
I would recommend the book
Massive doses
Ego on Its Own. It's a philosophical book about defending the ego.
But it can be sliced into so many ways.
Oh, yeah. And he was defending on, like, not selfishness, but, like,
self-confidence. Ego is self-confidence.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
And it can be toxic like anything.
It can be toxic.
It can.
Too much of anything.
So can anything. So can asceticism.
So can spirituality.
Yeah.
So can spirituality.
Like you can fucking any organized religion.
There is a limit.
Yeah.
Like everything's finite in this universe for a reason. It's like almost like a bleeding message right in our faces. Like you don't have everything. Cherish what you have. Make it work perfectly because it's supposed to work perfectly because you have enough. There was this a Tool reference. Fucking
good old Tool.
A good old fucking Tool. What's the it's fucking it's stagnant or repugnant is a creature who would squander his ability to look an eye to heaven and be conscious of his fleeting time here. And I'm like, wow, that's what we do every goddamn day, like we shouldn't. Heaven itself is just like the vast existence of everything, and we should be, and we're extremely capable of being conscious of that almost every second of the day and being grateful for it. But I don't do it. I mean, none of us do it, but eventually I think our minds will evolve. Maybe,
Hopefully.
I do believe in cerebral evolution,
Yeah.
Because we just started consciousness.
We've gotten from somewhere.
Exactly. And we didn't start too long ago. Like, in the vast
we're pretty new.
Consciousness is pretty
recent
fucking
patch
new.
on the game
Our
of life.
consciousness.
Yeah, our consciousness that we know of. But on this planet, our consciousness is relatively new in its, 3 billion-year-old life.
I mean, what we define consciousness as.
Exactly. Then there's, but that goes into the evolution of consciousness itself, because, there are areas, our brain isn't used a whole 100%, but imagine if that was, are there different realms of consciousness? What lies beyond, or what mysteries lie beyond the reach of our senses?
That's true. That's a valid point. No, I mean it's just that's very true.
We're not
for
there
people that see just black and white, or not necessarily people, but just creatures that do. Even that subtle change, going from black and white to color, gives you new perspective.
Even one color.
And they wouldn't even know.
Spectrum.
And that brings up the question of, what's it like to be a bat? In my philosophy of mind degree, we talked a lot about consciousness, and we talked about, humans' bias towards what consciousness is defined as. And you look at, a bat whose eyes aren't the best, but they have this echolocation that we can't even really fully conceive of what it is.
We developed some technology on it, but not the full. But not the full potential.
Yeah, we can't experience it ourselves.
And then they fly and they live at night, and they are there's alien a creature can be while also being relatively close because they're mammals. They have all this stuff, and it's for us to be able to try to think like a bat. If there's something there like there is to be a bat, our experience of that way, we could not understand
We
it.
couldn't perceive it.
Yeah.
We could not perceive it whatsoever.
And that's the thing is like, then that talks about like consciousness as like a outset. And consciousness, even within animals in our on our world, is very limited and subjective. Like you look at like the self-awareness tests. You know, like they put like animals in front of a mirror with like a dot on them, and if they recognize if they're conscious or not. In that test, dogs are not self-aware. But if you change the test to fit the animal's senses, where like smell is their number one, not sight, they're able to recognize it.
Oh man, an interesting thing. Like talking about changing tests. I learned something recently that not everybody has an inner monologue.
Yeah. There are people without that.
People without like the ability to like think inside my head like this thing is red, but they can't say it inside their minds. They're unable to do it. Like they don't have it. Like they don't think to themselves. They either say it out loud or like when people read. Some people can't read the words, like the sentence itself forms itself inside their head because they can't read the words individually. They can recognize the symbol of that sentence and piece it together via their brain without them knowing, and bam, they understand it. Imagine like applying that kind of information towards our school system. You know, like there's so many people who knows that this person can't fucking think inside.
One size fits all is not.
It's not. No, exactly.
Yeah, I met a guy on New Year's that didn't have an
Really?
He talks to himself all the time because he can't
what
think
a
the
poor
words.
motherfucker, dude.
He doesn't. He doesn't know any different.
But think about like us taking like we.
He's a perfectly normal, functioning human being.
Well, imagine being without that shit. Like, there's so many things that we have.
What does he have that we don't then? That's the thing is, there's probably things that the way he experiences things is different, and maybe he has some benefits because of that.
Same way into like having a photographic memory and whatnot. I've always wished, like, everyone's always wished, like, oh, I wish I could fly, which would be my second wish, but I wish I had a photographic fucking memory. That'd be fucking cool. Dude, I need to figure out how to do that.
I'm literally writing a research paper on that.
Really?
Yeah. In Chicago, we're gonna do tests on people with that kind of photographic.
Find out where it is, and then put it in my head.
Well, the thing is actually it's not a blessing. It's a curse. Like
I understand, especially when like you have emotional trauma. I've looked into it a good bit. Like some people can remember say somebody was sorry to say, like, you know, sexually assaulted. And like it is
every
impossible
time there's
for
a
them
trigger they experience for the first time again.
Exactly, and there's no way for them not to remember every vivid detail because it's perfectly recorded, categorized, and it pops up right in front of their mind.
Yeah, and in like COVID is another example. Like, so there's foreign groups. Them like we in quarantine or the pandemic during quarantine, we were doing the same things every day, and we're kind of stuck in our little loops of waking up, watching TV, doing your laundry, going to bed. They remember every single time distinctly. So them going through that same thing over and over and over again, unable to blend it together, is debilitating. Many people that have those mental that photographic memory are institutionalized because they can't function in day-to-day society.
Yep. I've read about a good portion of them. Like imagine a way like a balance of that. You know, like a selective photographic memory. There you go.
Well, there are people that there's a way to train yourself. They create memory palaces, where they're able to like their memories like they're walking through a museum and they're looking at an exhibit, and that is the memory.
That takes a lot of memory practice.
Oh, it is. But there's ways to do it.
Dream.
There's ways to do that.
Or what are the people that do it? Is that
there's a
it's not mnemonics.
Mnemonics is in numbers. That's
there's some people that memorize numbers.
It's an excellent way to tie it too.
There's like competitions or like demonstrations where they all come together and like they compete for their like memory abilities.
Competitions, and then another show you should watch, Queen's Gambit.
Dude, so Steph and I watched it, but we didn't like. We were talking literally the entire time.
You guys were watching, okay.
You were watching it.
I understand.
You're watching it with your girl.
Yeah, you're Netflix and chill, dog. It's fine, dude. We're all adults here.
No naked judges.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, you do. You do need to watch it.
I'm just happy because it's making more people want to play chess.
100%.
The Twitch community for chess is like exploding.
I mean, the chess set was like one of the top 10 toys of Christmas this year.
For Black Friday and whatnot as well. And also, like, a whole bunch of people are like looking up like one of the top search things on Google for a while was how to play chess.
When you play chess sometime, but you got a chess.com?
I can play chess.
You got chess.com?
I'd rather play on the board.
Me too, but with the world as it is, it's hard.
Well, the next podcast,
we have a chess podcast.
If you guys chesscast, if you guys have Cubit on, fucking, I'll come and poke his brain with you, and then
I'll be in the
background playing chess. I'll be like,
Perfect.
That sounds great. You'll just see his hand come up
Yeah,
on
I'll
screen.
just see my
Like,
hand.
just moving a piece.
My painted nails just coming.
You should
in
wear a
for
gorilla
second.
claw, just like moving the chess piece.
Like
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob with the gorilla hand.
Dude. That episode, seeing it now, I feel like would just... Like, seeing it now, I don't know how I wasn't traumatized as a kid with just that gorilla coming in.
Unzipped it out of...
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, what... When they
like,
wrote
the
that,
movie
were they
that
like,
played.
we need a cop out,
There
we
was
need to end this
there's a
episode.
conspiracy theory that bred from that episode about like bodysuits from SpongeBob, and there's like, especially the first 3 seasons, there's a big thing about bodysuits or wearing body parts on top of body parts, or wearing like people being other people, stuff like that. There's a whole conspiracy thing about
In
it
that
being
show.
intentional about from that episode because he was in a
So
bodysuit
maybe SpongeBob might not be SpongeBob.
Well, it's just like
Things like
how
that?
it was normalized and how people
Okay,
wear.
yeah,
and
okay,
SpongeBob
okay.
being SpongeBob, who's who, things like that. It's very
Plankton is Mr. Krabs.
one day.
One day,
Plankton
dude,
seems like he
wishes.
should be more. Plankton seems like he should be more successful. I mean, he's smarter. He has a robot he
But
made.
he's obsessed with envy. Like,
But also,
the-
like Mr. Krabs is obsessed with money, which is also worse.
Well,
I feel.
yeah,
Obsessed with greed.
So the original SpongeBob characters were based off of the 7 Deadly Sins.
Mm-hmm.
Son of a bitch!
Yup.
What?
Yup.
What?
Plankton is envy.
Get
Mr.
the.
Krabs is greed.
Mm-hmm.
That's obvious. Yeah.
Patrick is gluttony.
Yep.
Squidward is wrath.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy is pride. And SpongeBob is lust. But lust, as its original definition,
Lust for
of loving
experience.
too much.
Yeah, yeah. Lust
Or
for
loving,
experience.
yeah.
Lust for just
Connection, any-
connection.
yeah.
Lust for connection.
And so
abandonment
that was the
issues.
original 7 characters. of
Holy
SpongeBob.
fucking shit!
It's yeah, dude. They're real.
I love those conspiracy things. I don't believe most conspiracy theories. I just like looking at them.
No, that's awesome. There was a. Did you ever see the? We're talking about old shows now. You remember Steve, the Blue's Clues?
Yeah.
Blue's Clues.
OG
Like that.
Steve.
There was a big conspiracy about how he died. He's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's fucking fine. He's like writing cartoons and shit, like being
Or
a
like
cartoon
making him like
animator.
Paul McCartney, where he's secretly dead. And
Dude,
there's a double.
he looks like James McAvoy's stunt double.
Yeah. I can see that.
Crazy, dude. Squidward suicide. You guys remember that creepypasta?
I don't.
Oh yeah, it was big back in like
I'm interested.
early 2010s,
Sounds
but yeah,
great.
it was literally just about
Creepypasta.
just like Squidward having a bad day at work basically, and SpongeBob being too uppity, and
much.
Squidward not having like anybody really there for him, and then he just fucking he just yep.
Poor Squidward.
And it was during a normal episode of SpongeBob was like the part of the creepypasta, but then it just started turning really dark,
Yeah.
and then there was just a fucking like close up of Squidward with like giant black eyes and just like cries that got louder and louder, and then just fucking shotgun blast.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was like part of the creepypasta. Is that it just came from a normal episode and then
Just went
Yep,
to this.
just
ridiculous-
went to that.
Did you see the anime they made on SpongeBob? They made like an anime.
I saw the
thing.
intro. I saw the anime
This
intro.
guy spent like
awesome.
a year making like 6 episodes of like a anime. And the first one he fights Bubble Boss or Bubble Bass. He fights Bubble Bass in the first episode, and there's like it leading in. I don't think he's dropped the second episode yet. He might have just dropped it.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's so good, and it's very like it hits all the marks of like the fun like Sojin Jump kind of animes that
Yeah.
you love,
Mhm.
like fucking Naruto and shit. But it's good. Check
That
it
sounds
out. It's on
amazing.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
such a big thing about anime these days. I haven't gotten on the gravy train at all. Like
Start with
There's a few.
you would like Full Metal Alchemist, brother.
Oh, I've seen Full Metal Alchemist, but that's back. There you go. See, back then those anime shows I could definitely get along with. You guys ever seen Rurouni Kenshin?
Yeah.
I've seen some of it.
It's my favorite, but like, there's no more of that. So I mean, why?
I mean, there is.
There's Inuyasha.
You just have to dive into it and
I
know what you're looking for.
I know.
True.
I have to
That's
know
the
what I'm
key with
looking.
modern
Because like
anime.
it's nowadays, there's so much that
It
you have
is.
to know.
It's
how to,
overwhelming, and I feel
that-
somewhat out of the loop.
You could never
That's why you
watch
find
all
like
of it.
you
No,
find
even
like
if you tried.
you find like experts like on YouTube who their job is to review animes, and they tell you if you like this, this, and this show is like a 4 out of 10 in those lines.
I'll have to look that up. Just like
Yeah.
type in to
Yeah,
Google.
you can
if
find
you
some
like
people
Rurouni
that
Kenshin,
define-
you'll like.
I mean,
this
I was big in
Inuyasha.
anime for a while. I kind of jumped that boat a while back, but
I mean, it's not what I'm interested in
No, yeah.
nowadays, to be honest with you.
like old school animes, there's some like
Alchemist is amazing. Death Note's amazing.
Death
I
Note was
love
good.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yu Yu
Yeah,
Hakusho
it
was
so
fantastic.
fun.
Dude,
I just rewatched that season. Or I just rewatched the whole season.
let me tell you something. Dude, I play that song so often.
It's a good fucking
Oh,
show.
Smile
like a
Bomb.
jazzy
Smile
song.
Bomb.
They're strumming that sax.
Dude, if you like Yu Yu Hakusho, I didn't know this until after I finished the series, and it explains why it became my number one, whereas
Inuyasha?
Yu Yu Hakusho was my number one. Hunter x Hunter.
I've heard of Hunter x Hunter.
Togashi wrote it. It's
Okay.
basically like everything good about Yu Yu Hakusho, but like now, and it's like even more. I've never really cried.
Yu Yu
during
Hakusho was
anime.
like it took place towards like the 80s. It seemed
Yeah,
like.
80s, and there was like the tournament saga. There's something similar in Hunter x Hunter. It's literally perfect, and I have a fucking Hunter x Hunter in Kirigana on my chest.
So that means a lot to you. Yeah, most
It's
definitely.
good. I would if there's one thing I could recommend, Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter. Okay. I'll check it out because
Please. It's on
I always
Netflix.
hear about freaking what's the Attack on Titan?
That one's it
I
I like the
starts
first
off
season.
really
The
slow.
I
first
know.
season's amazing.
You like the
and
first
then I hear
The
season?
second
about-
season, I don't know. There's conspiracies they were trying to do and all this stuff. That's when I said I said it went slower in the second.
What's the other one that's like been going on forever?
One Piece.
No, I fucking hate
That one
Piece.
has
Fuck
been
One
going
Piece.
on
Fuck
forever
One
though.
Piece.
Fuck One Piece, stupidest fucking shit.
It's so fucking dumb.
I'm a
It is
retarded
filler.
rubber guy who like.
I mean, I like
I hate it.
I like the idea of those powers, but I
Mhm.
don't think the way they make it.
Yeah.
Over
And nothing
900
should be
episodes.
that long.
It's not over
Nothing should
900
be that
episodes.
long.
Nothing
And
should
they're
be
only halfway
nearly
done.
that long.
What's the name of that other big anime show that's
Bleach,
no
Dragon Ball Z, Naruto,
Keep going.
Fairy Tale.
Fairy Tale. There's Seven Deadly Sins. That one's pretty new. That one's really good. It's on Netflix.
Ping Pong's the best. You ever seen Ping Pong?
No, is it literally
My
about...
Hero Academia. There you go.
My Hero-
How'd you guys not say that? How'd you guys not say
Yeah, I
My
didn't
Hero
think of that
Academia?
one.
I was
It's,
like-
I mean, that one's fun. It's like
I've
like
heard that
watching
one's been
a
on
fucking,
forever.
It's like watching a Marvel movie. Marvel movies aren't good movies, but they're entertaining.
Okay, so Avengers Infinity War, it's finally hitting cable because I have Cox and like it shows on
Yeah.
TV now, and it was the world premiere of Infinity War
I mean,
last night.
Thanos
And, I
is
fucking
literally
love that movie.
Thanos is an
Came with my pants
environmental
in the
science
theaters.
major that doesn't realize how populations work. It's like he's like, I'm gonna kill half the people on every planet and everything's gonna be fine. It's like, no, that's not how.
There's
That's not how
evolutionary
it-
systems
that'll
in
work
town
for
that-
like 20 years, but
Exactly.
there's way better ways to do that plan.
True.
And then like I feel at the end of that movie when they snapped everyone one back, like they just got snapped back into a world of need
Yeah.
and
Like
want.
you should have just said, I'm
Like-
gonna sterilize
they're all
3/4 of the
fucked.
world. That's what you should have said. Sterilize 3/4 of the world. So you're forced to go forward with.
But
less.
let them achieve orgasm.
Yeah,
Let 'em
well,
achieve orgasm.
you can be sterile and still fuck.
True, you're just shooting blanks.
You shoot
Shoot blanks.
nut.
Word. Yeah.
just
that
nut.
sounds like a dream.
You're not nut.
Diet
Sounds like a
nut.
dream.
Yeah, you're not
diet nut.
You're nutting.
Yep. That's
diet,
it.
Diet nut.
Diet nut, dude.
Dude,
Yep.
that's a band name.
It should be.
That's like some fucking punk.
Garage punk band, yeah, dude. 100%.
Diet nut.
They screaming about their moms. all their songs about their moms.
Time to give that a chance.
So you
Cool.
go
It's
backwards.
almost 10. It's
So
almost
you
10.
go backwards on your watch.
Huh?
Why do you go backwards on your watch?
So I don't bang it on stuff for me. And I've just always, and plus it's just nice to,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's,
true.
It's more like you're like talking to like the car or something.
No, it's also like, you can use it as a subtle way to check at the time. You can just like this and look down. You don't have to be like this.
Yeah, you're not like...
Oh no, you're just getting your posture together. You're just chilling. You're like,
You're just like itching your head.
you can do that shit if you want to. Because then you don't give off kind of like a social cue. Like me checking speaking about social cue, I wasn't trying to check my watch to say I'm trying to leave, but like,
Oh, no,
you
you're
can
good.
definitely do that shit. And you'd be like,
These more subtle.
because people sometimes are like, oh, how come he's checking his watch?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good timing though. We're approaching time. We got like 15-ish minutes left. Something like that, for a good old cast. Wow. There's a lot I need to check out after this. Also, you said you got a philosophy of mind degree. Is that your degree, Paul?
Philosophy of mind. It's like neuroscience, psychology, and philosophy all kind of.
And how do you get that?
I went to Creighton for 2 years and got like an EMT certification, like paramedic kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's awesome.
And then I was like, I could sit there and get my bachelor's in EMS, but like all I would get over what I have now is I could teach it. I didn't really teach it, so I was like, I'm gonna go somewhere a little cheaper. Went to UNO.
There you go.
Started.
Mhm.
They have a path of philosophy of mind, and
Of course they
so
do.
a lot of like consciousness, a lot of other things I took that, and the memory thing I took as like a independent study with one of the professors, and wrote this proposal that is published and stuff, and so.
Oh, that's so cool, dude.
It's a fun degree. I've always liked philosophy. It's the only thing in college I could sit down and study without forcing myself to. Like something I would actively want to go and look at.
Well, because there's like a lot of things for you to find out about it.
I like the mind. I've always had a fucked up head, so I like learning about it.
Especially nowadays, like I feel like there's going to be an influx of just like more social interaction issues.
And for me,
people
it's
not being able to come back outside, more like like a pre-agoraphobia.
And for me, it's always been like I love arguing. Like, and we're in a generation now where arguing is seen as a bad thing. Like challenging, arguing is seen as you're trying to attack or beat someone. Mm-hmm. That's not what arguing is about. No. Like in the philosophical sense, arguing is made so you can build yours and the other person's.
Exactly.
It's like a muscle.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
a muscle. You're working it out.
You have to break something down to get it stronger. And then, if I have an opinion, I want it to be challenged. I want it to be me in order to see the other side, in order to see the options, to be able to better defend it.
I think Gary Oldman said it best. Like, we can argue all the live long day about anything. I think that's what he said, but it doesn't mean I hate you. No.
That's the thing is, if anything, I want you to get better. Like the term "devil's advocate" always pisses me off because it seems like it's a negative term. But no, you have to recognize that any opinion, belief, or idea you have, there's someone has an opposite belief.
To us non-Christians, saying it ain't too bad.
What I'm saying is because you believe something, there's going to be another opinion on it. And shouldn't you be able to defend yourself against their best arguments?
True.
And that's what playing the devil advocate does. Otherwise, you're going to yes man.
You're in a thought circle or like an idea bubble.
And there's like a certain weight of bringing that kind of like wave of challenge towards to another particular force itself, and that builds the anxiety of the argument itself. People leading into like the anger, to end up saying, "Well, fuck you."
But, rather than like,
well, I disagree.
Yeah. And the problem nowadays is with you look at how social media and algorithms work, you see your opinion from other people way more than you see an actual educated opinion from someone else. You will see straw man arguments and kind of like dumb definitions of another argument, but you're not going to see the actual lines of logic and the actual reasoning behind it.
The thought process.
Yeah. And that's what's
I couldn't agree more.
Problem. And then when you try to confront someone on a belief that's different, they either call you a name or they completely disconnect or they don't listen.
Well, there's always a rewind button that people forget to take. When they say something that we disagree with, we think, where is that coming from? We think primarily on the surface level, that's coming from a place that doesn't agree with me. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't like this. But then you dive into why they think about this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You find that it comes from a place of their particular set of logic. Exactly. Like there's so many layers to everything.
There are.
Yeah, fuck tribalism.
You gotta love each other, man. Fuck, at least attempt to, or at least give a damn about people.
That's really important.
The easiest thing to do.
Just caring.
Caring.
But loving and caring isn't always being positive to someone. Sometimes
no,
they need
a kick
in their
head. Sometimes they need a kick in the nuts.
Just drop them on their head. And
sometimes you need to scream in their face until they fucking get it.
Or walk away.
Or walk away.
Mm-hmm. That's true. There's many different types that care can be shown, whether it be positive or sternness or anything like that.
And sometimes
I look at it grabbing onto electric wire. It shocks you. It's stimulating. You're getting energy in you, but goddamn, that hurts. Let go. You let go, and you're like, oh, well, I didn't need that. I have my own energy.
And then sometimes the electricity is too hard, and you can't let go.
Exactly.
It's holding you there.
Exactly. Yep. And that's a deeper metaphor itself that delves into more of a mental connection.
We love our pain. We love our suffering.
We make imprints on things. If you imprint on something, it's just whether it's an emotion, whether it's a place, the memory, a person. It's just it's difficult to let go.
Yeah. We'd rather be seen suffering than overcome it in silence.
And when we overcome it in silence, we always want some kind of a recognition for it. But also some people who just go through some big breakthrough, like me when I had my ego death, due to DMT. I didn't post about it on Facebook, but some people when they have these big, crazy emotional responses to things, they seek validation for it on Facebook. or somewhere, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like, the social flow of what people do these days, and
The
they don't,
network.
and then they don't get likes, so they don't get a reaction to or somebody says, "Who cares?" And then they completely just
Yeah, they want the
rewind,
validation.
they take 5 steps back on that. They realize what they had encountered, but then they have a social, or they have a mental.
Lack of validation.
Mhm.
Also taboo against it too, because they did that and it seemed like it was the wrong thing to do. So they're like, I'm embarrassed about being open about this. I'm embarrassed about feeling this. I'm embarrassed about saying this.
Social media is fucked, dude.
It's seriously fucked. Like, I feel like an injection of compassion into the person itself will translate back into the the screen. But we have all these emotions in our head, and we have 2 thumbs to get them out. Like that. That's not enough input. That's not enough input. So we take all this vast, amazing knowledge inside our head, and we're constantly in the practice of dumbing it down onto
Putting
the
it
screen.
into words.
True.
And then
Yeah.
somebody else has to interpret this dumbed down version of what we really meant over on their side. And then this is dumbed down. Like, think about that. Like like everything we say on social media is so filtered, but we do it ourselves.
I mean, it's already filtered enough when I'm talking to you one-on-one.
Exactly.
There's already enough filters there.
Exactly. Like,
True.
say I'm trying to explain a dream to you, like sitting right fucking here. I'm gonna tell you about this and this and this. However, I fucking can.
You don't know the emotional connections. You don't know my social, my background.
And I
my
can't
way
explain to you
I was
like the
raised.
kaleidoscope of the sunfire exploding in the back. You
my
can't see it how I saw it. So I'm saying it to you, and then it's like, blah, 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 blah,
You
and then
can-
it's deciphering into your brain,
Yours
and
has
it's,
to
You can
process.
never at most get more than a secondary understanding.
we lose so much.
You can
talking
never
to
get a
each other.
first perspective.
But that's why I feel
true
like
understanding.
emotion and frequency and intuition, call it in intuition, is an interesting language to delve in itself, because I've definitely had conversations with people, not necessarily like long conversations, but the deep kind of ones that don't have words, like you don't know what you're saying, but you're saying it anyways, but just by looking at people, or just being intently just held in the gaze with somebody during some really just calm, emotional, exposed state. But like, that's not how we're living constantly. We're constantly living in a shell these days.
But even in that, there's still the filters. There's still
the
separation.
filtration process.
And that's why connection is so powerful, is because
And that's why communication is so necessary.
We are so
True.
separate and we are so
have to
isolated. If we're able to make those connections, if we're able to break that barrier of separation, that is beautiful.
It is.
It would be.
That is, and it's it's definitely tougher doing, especially when you're interpreting just text. In person is.
It's
much better.
impossible to get what anybody really means, other than saying like, if there was like, I like video chatting with people, it's like, it's so much fun. Like, I have so many friends who are in the habit of video chatting with me, and I'll just be on fucking like Snapchat or Facebook all live one day talking to them, and it's you get more out. Like, you can see like they're telling a story about their New Year's experience, and I can see like how happy they were. I'm like,
And the way they say a
and
specific
the way they say
word.
a specific word, it's not just like
Yeah.
just communication is something that's so overlooked these days. Like, fucking talk to people,
Right.
because like, it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. I was in a car accident a few fucking days ago. Like, I'm not trying to like play the pity party or anything, but like, there was a possibility, one chance that maybe my life could have been extinguished.
Yeah.
Like, I've said what I need to say, but there's so many people who just haven't like said
Yeah.
Say
what
what
they
you
need to
need
say.
to
Say what you need to say.
She was right the whole time. She was right the whole time. That's so true, though. Yeah, that communication is key.
It is.
And
Like,
yeah,
both my
the
parents
fact-
know I love them. Like, I wouldn't.
Mhm.
They'd be perfectly. I'd close my eyes happy. Like, they both know. I
Yeah.
love them. They just know.
You gotta say what you need to say, and like the fact
Set
that
boundaries too.
Yeah,
Set
of
boundaries.
course. I mean, you got it. Yeah,
You set boundaries
Yeah.
by communicating.
true. That is a fact.
Like, there's no other way to set boundaries other than by communicating.
I mean,
Unless
you can set boundaries without communicating, but they're gonna get fucking crossed.
and misinterpreted. Exactly.
Yep, and you'll be like, ah.
You're like, fuck you! You crossed my boundaries. Like, I didn't see no sign.
You didn't put a
I didn't see
line.
no line
Yeah,
in the
you
There's a
sand.
line in the sand. We're standing in sand. I see the
There's no
sand.
wall. I just walked right in. There's no guard.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Keep off the grass. This is sand.
It's grass to me, bitch.
exactly. Bad communication right there. I didn't know it was sand to you or grass to you. Fuck.
That's life.
That's
that is life.
So how do we move forward?
Um,
How do we grow to be more communicative or get to what you would want?
by doing it.
Yeah, but how do you start?
By starting.
That's
I mean, communication comes so naturally and simple to us that it's transgressed to two fingers. Like we communicate with two fingers now. It's such a part of us, communication. Unless
But the communication we're talking about, like the actual, like beneficial or the productive communication.
How does that start? That breaks down. There has to be a breakdown of a few social norms of high concentration of emotions not being seen as a burden. Because again, it goes back to what I was saying about the dopamine processing problems that all of us have. You, me, we all have it. Like it's impossible, but we're better at it. But it's there. It's there. Whenever, like, if you find yourself wanting a post to be liked, even for half a second, like that is a kind of like that's not something you need, and you've been programmed into that via habit over the past so many years of social media experience.
We like to be liked.
Exactly.
We do like
to be liked. But that itself, like that very essence of wanting a like or posting something for like, is clear signs of a dopamine deficiency.
Yep. Or being upset that something didn't get liked.
Not a deficiency, but the fact that these
dopamine processing like irregularity.
It's more so that we are evolved to a specific level of dopamine.
It was not there 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago, the internet was completely different because what I'm saying is like it's the same thing with like food. Like the person, like even the poorest of Americans lives better than
food needs to change too. Caroline, if you watch this, I still eat Boca. I fucking love that vegan.
Boca. She's such a dude. I see the pictures of the cakes and different stuff she makes, and I'm like, how do you do this?
Dude, she does absolutely everything, and she's actually painting a picture of me right now. She's doing a portrait of me right now.
Dude,
she won't send me the fucking photos. She was so frugal with all her photos, but on Facebook. But now she won't even send me photos of it. I imagine it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Cause she is one of the most talented women I've ever fucking met. She's
hell yeah.
Top fucking.
Shout out to Carolyn.
Shout out to Carolyn.
Bet. That's I feel like that 20 years that has like evolved, like it's mainly like the companies themselves, they want you to stay on there, so they like know how to hit the things you like.
Well, they've gotten into a habit as well. Like we've built our habits, they've built their habits around our habits. It's spawning.
They know
habits.
what we like.
Well, some of them aren't even intentional. Like some of the algorithms are made to keep you on the site. They're made just and no one programs them to do specific things, but they realize if you see this, you're gonna stay on the site longer. So they keep giving you this, and that is not a person controlling you. That's not a person controlling you. That's just the algorithm doing its job.
Learning.
I wish they changed the algorithm to stop showing me fucking like anime boobs. I don't give a fuck. I like real shit.
It's like come on, Tanner, join the anime.
I see like this. Dude, one of us. Love that shit.
Yeah, it's just like, but you got to think about like even the poorest of Americans lives better than like a 14th century king. Like they have,
they have more gold.
But what can they get? The
more monetary value.
A poor individual now has entertainment at their fingertips. If they have a phone, if they have a TV.
Dude, a king would fucking cut our heads off to get our fucking Netflix account.
Super high caloric food like fucking McDonald's for cheap as fuck. They have air conditioning. They have a place to live.
They have a toilet with water.
Those things we see as necessities
bidets,
nowadays,
man.
We don't even think twice about, are so much like concentrated dopamine that back when we evolved to live as humans,
people will be drunk.
Yeah. Like we found a fruit once that's amazing. That's every day we eat fucking gushers. Like those things are at our fingertips whenever we fucking want them. But back in the day, that was the prize of the month. Made a dance and a story about for finding it.
That's perfect. That's a perfect.
And that's
example.
why that dopamine deficiencies aren't a thing. It's more just overstimulation.
Yeah. Most
that's
definitely.
A good way to put
but
it.
At the same time, over our years, like you don't think that's going to create some kind of an issue, like a long-standing issue that would eventually affect the evolutionary process of our minds expanding.
Well, because too much of a good thing we don't see.
I'm afraid for the evolution.
Too much of a good thing we don't see directly as a bad thing. It is a bad thing. We recognize that.
Yeah.
But in the moment, we don't see it that way. We don't see it as too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're like, this is great. I want more of this.
Because we're being stimulated. It feels
great.
Why would I
not? That's a hedonism, man.
Like why? So say you're having sex with a chick and like you're in there and you're like, man. I know I love this right now, but what if I just stopped? What? No. No, it's not gonna happen. It's You just
There
can't.
you go, Paul. The final truly.
I was about to
Oh,
say
I
good.
took the last
I
one.
do not want a true.
All right.
I do not want another one. I have to draft here soon.
That's like
I got
That's
I got
life.
Crown
That's
Apple
life.
and vodka if I need.
crapple.
Yeah, I got some
crapple.
crapple.
I was gonna bring a pack of beer and just like leave it here because I bought it for this party I had at my place over New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
But no one drank beer. They all drank this.
You gotta drink wine.
Like
man.
this. I had one. We had one.
like,
I had a little bit of wine.
Yeah.
But there was a whole bunch of like this CBD hemp oil drink there that my friend bought. And it was all right. It was all right. It was very planty.
It's like a
You can handle
shitty kombucha.
it. No, it wasn't good.
So it's shitty kombucha.
It wasn't that good. I love kombucha. love
I know,
that
that's why I
shit.
said it's
Vinegar's
shitty
so
kombucha.
good. It didn't taste like vinegar though. There was no vinegar in it. I mean, I wish there was. It'd be good. Makes your breath smell like shit though. Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
That's rough.
So
Kiss me.
So does garlic, but I'll eat it all day long.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Oh, I fucking love garlic, dude.
I have yet to do that one thing. Like, have you seen on like Facebook where they like bake those garlic cloves?
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen that?
I've done that.
Like they take a whole bunch
Oh,
of
I've
these
like
garlic cloves
baked
and they like just like put like 6 or 7 of the garlic cloves and they bake them for like an hour or so and you just pull them out of the pot and they're
And
just
they just You
steamed
roasted
and
garlic's
soft.
the best thing in the world. Roasted garlic is the
I
best.
bet your
thing in the
house
world.
just smells.
You ever gone to Lo Solomio?
Lo
Solomio. It's a Italian restaurant in like South O.
So-
They have as an appetizer, just to give you bread and
Roasted
cheese
garlic?
and olive, and then they'll bring you roasted garlic and diced tomatoes.
Mhm.
You mix it all together, you
Bruschetta.
dip it in the bread, and it's
Holy
That-
fucking shit.
Yes.
every
I've
New
had that
Year's
once.
me and my
See, what
family go
sucks
there.
about fucking Corona is like I just moved to Omaha like back in April. I guess not just, but it seems like a short
It
fucking
seems
year.
like because I haven't done
Seems
it.
like a short
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
year. And like I haven't been because Omaha is a restaurant town. Like
Oh yeah,
easily
we
a
used to
restaurant.
have one.
and
we
I
used
haven't
to
been able
have
to go
the
experience
most,
anything because
Yeah.
everything's fucking closed.
up until like a year or 2 years ago. We had the most restaurants per capita of any city in the country.
We love food.
Yeah.
We love places.
Dude,
And there's
see,
some
like-
really good
like,
spots.
that's
Like
what-
Lo Solomio is one
Yeah.
you need to
See,
check
like
out.
that's what I'm trying to get into. That's what I'm trying to move closer in town so that when someone says like you, like, hey, you want to go out to eat? Like, yeah, I'm 10 minutes away. I'm out in Wicked West Omaha.
Mhm.
Wicked West.
Yeah, it's better than an hour away.
It's
Yeah,
like-
it is better than an hour away.
Yeah,
Fuck
dude.
Fremont. Fuck that place.
You heard it here first, folks.
Fuck Fremont
Fremont.
to its
Fremont.
core.
Uh,
Fight me. You're too busy smoking
Well,
meth,
I
aren't
think
you?
that's a good.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
good.
leave it on
Anything
Fuck
you want
Fremont.
to plug? Anything you what you up to? Anything you want to tell the people?
Rise above to lift those below. That's
Aw.
about it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, thank you again, Tanner, for
I've-
starting off
It was fantastic to be
season
here.
2. Thank you, Paul. Great guest co-host. Yeah, tune in. We will. You'll see this 2 days after we film this. Now, we've got our D&D podcast going on every week. We've got the Between the Cheeks this podcast going on. We're doing a lot, and yeah. We hope you enjoy it. Have a good 2021. Fuck 2020 overall.
Yeah, fuck 2020.
At least the staying inside part. Some things that were good did happen, but
And drive safe.
Drive safe.
Drive safe.
2021 will be a great year.
And don't hurt yourself or anyone else unless you have to.
And communicate with each other, you know?
Yes.
Communicate.
Communicate.